Chicago's very own, a legend in his time and a prime of his life right now, Mr. Harold Tennis of the Davis. I don't massacre your name, believe me, I do it all the time. I don't mean to, it's just my, it's the nature, natural flaw of my life. I mess a name up. I know the face, but I will rename you in a minute like your mama. Boy, that ain't my name. I don't care. Come here. How you doing tonight? I'm gonna turn this mic. You need the mic? You need the mic? Yo, Mr. Mellow with it. I'm telling you, boy, I'm in trouble tonight. I'm going home alone. I'm gonna get up out of here, have fun with him. Don't hurt him too bad.
Good evening, everybody. Invited here by Brother Dorian. Sister Lena, I didn't know she was here, but it was good to see her also. And met Brother Dorian a couple months ago, actually about 3 months ago. And basically he was the first one to come out and say he was going to run for this seat instead of war. Before anybody ever came out about it, he came out first. So I had him come on my show, and a lot of things I didn't know about him. That he was a cook, and been all over the world, that kind of stuff. But I was impressed with the fact that he was a young brother that saw things needed to be changed. And since 2007, this ward has had no representation. And so it was a disgrace that this alderman who was here, who would fly in on a Wednesday for a council meeting, and then catch a 5 o'clock flight back to D.C. where her children attended school. And so this ward has had no real representation, and I thought that this brother would have been an excellent alderman. But as we know, the politics play a major role in how they deal with us. And one of the things that they showed us was that they would rather have a black woman in charge over a black man. And so I guess Manuel elected somebody from California who nobody really knew. And she's here. And so one of the interesting things about how they do us is that there are 15 black female aldermen in the city council. There are 8 Hispanic aldermen, all Hispanic males. And for some reason, the powers that be always seem to be comfortable putting black women over us. And that's a psychology in itself. When you look at 85% of every dollar that's spent in America in the black community is controlled by the black female. And so one of the issues that we have is that what we talk about is that if the black female stops supporting the black church, then maybe these churches would be effective, because the black male as a pastor is the most free black man in America, because black people pay him. But for these preachers to align themselves and with people that don't look like us, and to have mega churches in this town where if I could follow these preachers home on Sunday, you would find out that they live nowhere near the churches that they serve.
That's right.
And just like the issues that happen in our community, this is only the second time I've been in here. First time I was in here for a couple of years ago, fundraiser. But one of the issues that we have to deal with is the economic solidarization that takes place in our community on a day in and day out basis. 91% of every Korean that lives in Chicago has at least one business in the black community. 75% of every Arab that lives in Chicago has at least one business in the black community. 62% of every Indian in Chicago has at least one black business in the black community. And so you can go to Little Italy, you can go to Greektown, you can go to Pilsen, where the Hispanics control. You can go to, well, it used to be Jewtown, but the Jewish people control parts of that Andersonville area. But nowhere in black America can you go to a black town. And so the issues are that this establishment here should always be full. And I would like to ask who owns this place when the last time an Arab or Indian or Korean came in here and bought something. And I'd probably be hard pressed to find out that they never came in here and bought anything. And so the issue that we need to understand, that territorial reality, is that they are enemies of ours. And it is only a group of people like us that we will allow somebody to import themselves in our community. And then we support them. And then we watch them export our future up out of here. And if any psychiatrist or psychologist was to do an analysis of black people in America, the only thing they can come up with is that we are stone crazy and out of our minds. Because under no circumstances would any other group of people would allow the cream of the crop, 15 to 18 years old. Last year, there were 8,000 murders in black America in this country. 7,509 were committed by black people. 65% of them were committed by teenagers between the ages of 15 and 18. And so if you see one little brother going to the county jail or juvenile detention center, the other mother is at the county morgue identifying her child. And so those things that affect both families, and for us to sit here and be at war with people in our community that don't look like us, and we don't realize that we at war, then there's something drastically wrong with us. And we need to really look at ourselves and try to understand why is it that all over this country that these people come in our community. There's a book out called Ethnic Road to Successes. And in that book it talks about foreigners that come here.
That's right.
That if they come here, they should come here with one thing
That's
in mind.
right. Open up.
That's to open up a business in the black community.
That's right.
So they say we ain't got no money. We got $1.2 trillion gross national product last year. We got all kinds of money. If we did not have any money, they wouldn't be here.
That's
The
right.
problem is we don't know who to give the money to.
That's right.
And so that's a major problem. And so this establishment here should be able to expand and duplicate. I mean, that's all corporate America do. McDonald's, expand and duplicate. Burger King, expand and duplicate. This should be a cafe like this in every black ward in Chicago. There are 19 black wards. And so what's stopping him from expanding? It's us. And so unless we get a hold of this economic issue that we have, we're going to continue to lose the cream of the crop of our children. We're going to continue to let people come in here. I don't know if you saw the paper today, but they said 88% of those school closings are black children.
That's right.
88%. From the west side to the south side. They ain't expanding. They're not closing Hispanic schools, they're building. They're not closing schools on the north side. And so you have to sit back and wonder, 88% of the school closed are black children. I mean, so everywhere we go, I mean, we seem to be under this vicious attack, but we don't seem to realize that we're in some kind of war. And we are at war every single day. I mean, when those Koreans and Arabs and Indians come in here, they realize they're at war. I mean, you burn up an Arab store, he gonna move next door. I mean,
That's right.
You break in the store, tear it up, he gonna move down the street. And so that kind of mentality, business is warfare. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of this business, but I said at times he struggles to pay his bills. When that should never be. With a group of people that got gross national income at $1.2 trillion. If I took $1 billion in single bills, they would go higher than the Sears Tower. So imagine what $1.2 trillion. For me to count to $1 billion would take me 90 years. And so 1.2 trillion, I mean, those numbers are unreal. We have the money. We just don't know what to do with it. And it leaves our community as soon as we get it. And so until we develop an economic base to deal with the issues, we're never going to get free. We have to deal with issues. Every politician in America that's black since 1968 have run on 3 platforms: bad schools, inadequate housing, unemployment. They still running on that platform. So since King died, every time you talk to a politician that don't know what he's talking about, I'm looking for better schools, I'm looking for opportunities and jobs, and I'm looking for adequate housing. So that means it's a political necessity to keep those 3 things in the situation that they're in. So it's a political necessity for our schools to be bad, for us to have unemployment, for us to have inadequate housing. And so the largest shift of wealth that they talk about, I'm going to close, is during the Reagan era. That was the largest shift of wealth where the rich got richer until this president came along. The largest shift of wealth in America has happened under a black president, where the rich have gotten richer. Tavis Smiley was responsible for 37,000 black people losing their houses under Wells Fargo. Magic Johnson was responsible for 40,000 black folks losing their houses under Washington Mutual. We still walk around and act like they're some kind of heroes. Every time we see them, we should attack them. I mean, and this boy, Tavis Smiley got $4.5 million to do that. And I don't know if y'all remember, but 4 years ago, they were in Chicago every Friday doing these things with Wells Fargo and Washington Mutual. And then we allow them to walk around in our community, and we don't address what they did. I mean, there's 75,000 people lost their house in the black community because of that. And so, you know, in my conclusion, I don't know, brother, you know, how we could, I don't know how we got here, but I knew that it's going to be us to get us out of here. We're going to have to be the ones to deal with these issues that need to be dealt with. And if there is a government, then why is it that the government can support and do whatever they want to do when it comes to other ethnic groups? But when it comes to us, it's almost like some memo went out and said, no, black people told you across the country. I mean, there's no way in the world that Padilla Pendleton's death should mean any more than the 14 children that died before her that month. The same day they had her funeral, they had a little boy's funeral on the west side. The man was 16. Nobody went to his funeral. He got killed. And so for them, because she was at the White House, and a week before that, but 65 teenagers in Chicago got killed last year. And so nobody said nothing about them. So it's very dangerous to make a distinction between children being killed, as though this child on the west side didn't mean anything, but the child on the south side meant something. And in closing, the treasurer, Stephanie Levy, said this morning on the radio, on VON, she said, well, I am very disturbed that my son came to me yesterday. We live a block from where her dad got killed, and said, Mommy, I'm scared. I'm afraid to ride my bike this summer. Oh, really? Well, I'm afraid to ride that bike too. So all of a sudden now, it's an issue for your child?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just glad to have met this brother. And I think this brother has a future in the political arena, and that we should support him, and we should support people who support us, and stop letting people just do anything.
That's right. That's right.
We have to stop